It's another late night here in the shop. Let me show you guys what we got going on. So in this video, I'm planning to tackle the rear main seal. I'm going to do the exhaust manifold gaskets. I think I'm going to do all of the valve cover gaskets as well. Got some new gaskets for where the exhaust meets the turbo. Then I'll probably make my way over here, and I'm going to do this oil cooler housing and oil cooler gaskets. And then I'll probably finish it off by doing the, it's hard to see over there, the front main seal and the timing cover housing gasket, as well as the killer dowel pin fix. Without further ado, let's get to tearing apart the engine. Alright, so the first order of business I think on this engine is I'm going to take off the chain on the top, so what I used to crane it in here. I'll have to put this back on later, but I think I'm going to remove that first, and then I'll probably after that go ahead and remove the heater core hoses, and then that'll let me get to the exhaust manifold a little easier. I think I'll then try to unzip the manifold and get that out of the way. Got a couple new gaskets for that, so probably take that off, and then that'll allow me to get to the oil cooler housing a little bit easier. So I believe what we're looking at here is a 1/2 inch. Yep, so those are a 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna pull a risky move here and claim that those are gonna be a 10 millimeter and hopefully not too rusty for my 1/4 inch drive. Perfect. Sketchy. I'm gonna go get the 3/8 drive and try that again. Instinct is telling me, why even bother with the 3/8? You could put a 1/2 inch on it. We're gonna risk it. See what happens. Like it was nothing. Go ahead and take this chain off of here. So it looks like all we have to do to get these heater core lines off, I'm going to go through with my flathead and loosen a couple of these hose clamps. I'm going to be getting some new components for this section anyway, so we're going to go ahead and remove some of that stuff, and hopefully then we can get to this exhaust manifold. Nice. All right, there goes our heater core lines. Okay, I think it's time to start tackling these exhaust manifold bolts. I came through last night and doused all of these with krill oil, so hopefully they're gonna come out nicely. It's sometimes a bummer if they break off. They're really hard to get out. You do have to weld to them if that happens, usually. We're gonna hope for the best on this one. I'm gonna go easy and maybe show you guys some techniques if I have any stubborn ones, but hopefully not. Hopefully they just pop right out and we can get this manifold off. The only other thing that you have to do to remove the exhaust manifold, other than remove the bolts that are holding it in, is to take the oil feed drain for the turbo off. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'll probably remove it from the side of the oil cooler housing and not the actual turbo, just in case something breaks. But I'm going to go ahead and bust that loose and roll the time lapse. The thing about working on the Cummins is you're going to buy the whole parts store out of parts cleaner, but that's how she goes. Better clean than sorry. Not gonna lie, I'm a little sketched out. I might have to do this guy up here at the turbo. I was gonna try to do it from the oil cooler housing, but I'm a little sketched out that something's gonna break. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to remove this one. It's a 5/8 fitting. Just gotta smack her loose. There we go. Got it. Okay, well, the GoPro just died. I think it overheated. Can't just be sitting there forever. Keeps throwing curveballs at me. I think the next thing on these second gens, I forgot the AFC for the boost control comes right here. Whoops. The AFC for the boost control comes off of this guy, and there is a line, an aluminum line, it looks like, that runs up and over the top. So we will have to remove that from this side as well. Sorry boys, one last thing before we zip the turbo and the manifold off. You do have to get under here, and I believe those two guys for the oil return off the turbocharger are a 10 millimeter. You'll have to remove those as well. Now that the turbo's oil supply is unthreaded, I'm going to go ahead and start breaking these manifold bolts loose. We'll see how far we can get. You just want to go nice and easy. Oh, look, we got lucky on that one. Got lucky. What about this one? Are we gonna get lucky? Oh, well, someone did us a favor or something. Must have put anti-seize on a lot of these. Let's hope this one does the same. Oh yeah. I mean, they're rusty, but they're loose. What about this one? Is this one gonna be tight? Oh, it's loose too. Wow, we lucked out. What about this one? I'm gonna have to get a different socket to do these inside ones, I'm pretty sure. I might be able to get to this one. Oh, even that one's loose. Wow. I think we got two more here in the middle that are gonna be real hard to get to. They got a little bracket here that I'm gonna have to remove, and then we'll get to pulling the manifold off.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the bottom ones.
Bada bing, bada boom. Someone might have raised that on, but we'll figure out how to get it off. Okay, well, of course, at the most convenient time, the GoPro decided to conk out on us. This is take two of getting the manifold removed. I ran a couple of these bolts, just a couple threads back in because it was starting to fall on me, and all that work, I didn't want you guys to miss it. So getting this thing removed here, this bolt's kind of coming out a little crooked. I'm thinking that's probably going to be our last little bit of threads hanging on here. There we go. Manifold removed. I mean, overall it's a little bit dirty, just areas I couldn't pressure wash, but pretty clean block overall. I'll probably give it another steam here, maybe tomorrow or the next day when I get some time. And then we'll go back and clean all these surfaces when I get the fresh gaskets. And we'll start getting her put back together on this side. All right, I think that's enough excitement for the day for one guy in the shop. We were pretty successful, got the exhaust manifold off, got everything out of the way so I could see that whole side of the engine, make sure there's no foul play, nothing funky going on. Anyways, I'm getting pretty tired. I'm gonna start packing up for tonight. We'll see you guys in the morning. Welcome back to day two here in the shop. The gasket kit just showed up earlier today. Let me show you guys what we have going on. So I'm currently removing the oil cooler housing. When we left off last time, I had just removed the manifold. I took off the lower radiator return hose bracket down there, so that's all out of the way. I've been degreasing all afternoon. All of these oil cooler housing bolts are a 10 millimeter, so I've just been going and unzipping those with the impact gun. Then we're going to do the two gaskets that are underneath that, and then I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the front. Okay, now that we've used an entire bottle of brake clean, we're going to go back and start reinstalling these 10 millimeter bolts on the oil cooler housing. I'm going to start getting this zipped down right now. One more lap for good measure. Okay, we'll spray her down with a little cleaner and pop the oil filter back on so we don't get any dirt in there. Okay, sorry about the camera quality. The next seal I'm going to do is going to be the front main seal, and in order to do that, we do need to remove this timing cover, but that's a good thing because I can get to the killer dowel pin that's just behind this guy right there. I'll put you guys on a time lapse and show you how that works. Our first step is going to be to remove the oil fill, and once we get that out, it's a pretty quick removal. The one thing I would recommend to do is once you're zipping these bolts out, go ahead and get yourself a piece of paper because all these bolts are different lengths. So if you get yourself a piece of paper and you kind of sketch the layout of the timing cover, you can lay the bolts in their exact orientation. It saves a ton of time when you're putting this back together. Okay, back to the time lapse. All right, before we continue, you'll notice that cover's getting ready to come loose. I got all the bolts here in their correct orientation so we don't lose them. Let's go ahead and pop the cover off. Sketchy. Oh, it's just gonna come right off today. Voila. Cummins cover. So as you can see, there's my rag I shoved in from the back where your vacuum pump would come through. This right here is the bolt that we're worried about. And it's a good sign because it looks like the dowel pin has not removed itself. We might drive it in a little farther, but we're gonna remove, let me get a shot back here. So if that's the whole cover, we're after that. Of course, it's in the shade. We're after that bolt right there, and we're going to put a little cover over that dowel pin because if that backs out and finds its way in between any of these gears, you're going to grenade your motor, and it does happen. I don't know if I'll bother with necessarily degreasing the middle of this, but I'm going to go around and get a razor blade, clean up all this RTV, and then probably get some lacquer thinner or something and clean this off really well. And then we'll move on to taking care of that dowel pin. Okay, there's your KDP fix. That bad boy is never coming out. I can put red Loctite on the threads. I'm gonna get to RTVing the front of this cover and get this sucker locked back on because it's getting. Okay, I'm gonna get the rest of the bolts put back in this sucker and we'll catch up with you guys as soon as I'm done. Okay, well, it's super late at night. I think I'm gonna probably call it for the first half of this video on the Cummins engine rebuild. Like I said, it's getting super late at night. I'm getting pretty tired. We tackled a lot in this video. Got it all initially cleaned up in the first half, and then we removed the exhaust manifold, got the oil cooler housing resealed, as well as the timing cover and the killer dowel pin gaskets. But pretty stoked how it's turning out. Like I said, the next video will probably be out in a couple days. You guys will get to see me reinstall everything. I'm going to do the rear main seal and the oil pan gasket, and then I'm going to degrease and pressure wash the whole thing again, and then you'll get to see what color I paint it. Anyways, appreciate you guys for sticking with me. Please click that subscribe button. We're almost getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be pretty cool to hit that goal. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.